Hello there, everybody, and welcome. My name is Tamir Moore, and welcome to the latest episode here on my YouTube channel. Also, I will invite you to follow me on social media as I often post there a lot. You can check out the links to my Twitter and Instagram profiles on this intro screen. And one last quick thing, you can check out my latest video by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And now it is time to start today's featured episode. And now, here is Tamir Moore in the home studio for this week's filming of What You Need to Know. It is time for a battle inside the NFC West. From Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California, Fox Sports presents the NFL. Today, a pivotal Week 10 matchup with major postseason tie-breaking implications at stake, as Kyren Williams and the 6-2 Los Angeles Rams are in town to play Christian McCaffrey in the 6-3 San Francisco 49ers. Hi, everybody. This is Tamir Moore. Thank you so much for joining us. It is nice to be back. You may have noticed that we have not done a YouTube show quite some time. I've been off the last few Sundays to cover the World Series. What a World Series that it was. A 7-game thriller. I saw the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 5-4 in 11 innings last Saturday. Obviously, a heartbreaking loss for Toronto. Let's briefly talk about that. The thing about the Blue Jays, though, they were 2 outs away of winning their first World Series titles in 1993, and then the Dodgers showed their championship muscle. Miggy Rojas hit a home run in the top of the 9th inning to tie the game at 4, and then in the top of the 11th inning, Dodger catcher Will Smith hit a solo blast to put the Dodgers up 5-4, and then, of course, the great young star in this league, Yoshimbu Yamamoto, closed the door shut. How about his World Series, right? Complete game in Game 2. He could have pitched in Game 3. The game went to 19 innings, but of course, Freddie Freeman won Game 3 on a walk-off home run. 6 strong innings in Game 6. That's multiple innings of relief in Game 7, including getting the double play to end the game and series. So congratulations to Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Justin Dean, Will Klein, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow. We can go on and on. Kiki Hernandez, Teoscar Hernandez, and the Los Angeles Dodgers for winning their 2nd consecutive World Series. One of my favorite sports as a little kid, and bringing it back now is baseball. One of the best World Series I've ever watched. I've watched plenty of World Series for the years. That was a 7-game battle that had you on the edge of your seat. It was a shame someone had to lose, but the Toronto Blue Jays, I'm sorry, but Bo Bichette, Vladdy Jr., heck of a series, heck of a season. John Snyder, great Blue Jays manager. Toronto, I think they'll be back. I think the Blue Jays, if they bring all their pieces back, I think Toronto is going to be right in the mix to get back into the World Series in 2026. Also, I should mention that this week 10, episode 7 of What You Need to Know is occurring during Veterans Day weekend. So for those of you who served in the Navy, in the Army, in the military, in the armed forces, if you are serving this country right now or have formerly served, we thank you for your service and hope that this episode reaches you and enjoy the show today. All right, with that preamble out the way, let's take care of some housekeeping before we get into the show in chief. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this video and this channel. The algorithm really appreciates the likes and the subscriptions, so make sure you do that. Again, we are trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year on this channel, so we are roughly 2 months away from the end of the year, so let's try to get subscriptions, try to get the word out a little bit. We're trying to grow the channel and build it up and support my new venture back into YouTube. I was a YouTuber when I was in high school, my early years of college, pretty dormant for a couple of years. Now, here in my mid-20s to bring YouTube back. And also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of all of our newest content. we post every single week here, and I do apologize for not being here for the past 3 weeks, but as you know, I was on assignment. So if you like football, if you like learning more about the NFL, then this is the place for you to be. So please join me as we talk about the 2025 NFL season each and every single week. Thank you. With that taken care of, let's get into the show. We're going to start off with the reference notes. We will then talk about the playoff picture, the injury report, and then the game capsule, the traditional format that you are accustomed to by now. Okay, let's get into the reference notes. This is the first time this season that I've done a Rams and 49ers game for that matter. So covering two new teams for me, it's always a little bit of a challenge. So I did a lot of prep this week. I watched film of the Rams-Saints game from last week and the 49ers-Giants game from last week as well. Really impressed with the film that I watched, and also took a lot of notes. I highlighted a lot of things in preparation for this YouTube show. It just felt weird, right? Because I've not done an NFL game in 3 weeks. So the fact that I got to prepare and go back to the process that I've done for years, it was a little bit of adjustment, but it's easy peasy lemon squeezy once you put your head down and get after it. Okay, reference notes time. Sunday marked the 154th overall meeting between the Rams and the 49ers. San Francisco leads the all-time series 79-71 free. In other words, 79 San Francisco wins, 71 Rams wins, and 3 ties. Look at the standings in the NFC West. This is a crucial game for both of these clubs as we start the second half of the season here today. Look at the standings in the NFC West. The Seahawks and Rams are tied for first place at 6-2. The Rams and Seahawks have not played yet. They'll play in Week 11 at SoFi Stadium on November 16th, and then they'll meet again in Week 16 on December 18th at Lumen Field in Seattle for a Thursday night showdown. So obviously, Rams-Seahawks haven't played each other yet. 2 big division classes as we continue the second half of the 2025 season. Seahawks 6-2. Rams 6-2 as well. But Seattle owned the tiebreaker, though, because the Seahawks have a better divisional record. Seattle 1-1 in NFC West play. The Rams are 0-1, and we'll talk about that one loss the Rams suffered inside the NFC West in just a moment. San Francisco 6-3, not too far off the pace. And then you have the Cardinals in the cellar with a record of 3-5, albeit the Cardinals did beat the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. And before we continue, let's briefly talk about the news that was really sad. We learned on Thursday that Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Leland unfortunately passed away. It was an act of suicide, and obviously this was all over the news. My thoughts go to Marshawn's family, the Dallas Cowboys organization, and the National Football League. And let me give you this quick PSA public service announcement. If you or anybody that you love is going through a mental health crisis, there is help available. If you will like to, please put this in your phone, write this down somewhere, 988. That is the National Crisis and Suicide Lifeline. Folks there will be able to help you go through whatever you're going through. We've all had struggles with our mental health, and now is the time to address that in a way that is really tragic and sad situation. So just wanted to briefly mention that. Marshawn, rest in peace, young brother. You were taken from us way too soon at the age of 24. Came out of Western Michigan. Nealon scored a touchdown off that block punt on Monday Night Football. The game at Arizona did win 27-17. But I just wanted to briefly mention that because that was really heartbreaking to hear. And I just wanted to make sure that Marshawn Nealon got some attention on this program. So again, thoughts and prayers go out to his family, the Cowboys, and the NFL. As hard as it is to segue from that back to football, we'll try to do so here. The NFC West is pretty competitive at the top, with the top 3 teams in the division competing for the division championship. The Rams, coming off of a dominant 34-10 win last week against the Saints, Wide receiver Devontae Adams has 60 yards on 5 receptions and 2 touchdowns. Rams running back Kyren Williams had his first 100-yard rushing game of the season and scored a touchdown from 1 yard out. San Francisco defeated the Giants 34-24 last week at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. Both teams come off a win last week. Linebacker Tatum Buffoon, who is filling in for the injured Fred Warner, who suffered a horrible injury week 6 in Tampa. He had a career-high 16 tackles, Buffoon did. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey carried the ball 28 times for 106 yards and 1 rushing touchdown, while adding 5 receptions for 67 yards and a receiving touchdown. The Rams have won 3 straight. San Francisco's been a little bit on a roller coaster ride, having split each of their last 4 after a really impressive 4-1 start. Look at the NFC playoff picture. We have a three-way tie at the top of the NFC. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, and Seattle. The Eagles play the Packers on Monday night. The Buccaneers play the Patriots on Sunday. The Seahawks play the Cardinals today. Big NFC West game, especially for the Seahawks. And then you have Green Bay at 5-2-1. Packers, Eagles Monday night. The Rams and 49ers, the number 5 seed, number 6 seed, respectively, play today. And the Detroit Lions, who are currently the last team in the NFC playoff field. They're 5-3. They'll play the Commanders later today. And obviously, this is the big game for both of these teams. Here's what's on the line. Whoever wins this game could be in first place at the end of the day, depending on what happens in the Seahawks-Cardinals game. If the Rams win this game today and improve to 7-2, and if the Seahawks lose to the Cardinals, the Rams will be in sole possession of first place. However, if San Francisco were to win today and improve to 7-3, and if the Seahawks were to lose to drop to 6-3, then San Francisco then will be in first place in the division, and they'll have to head-to-head sweep over the Rams, which is very important for potential tiebreakers at the end of the season. So this game carried a lot of weight. Every game featuring a combination of Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks, and San Francisco 49ers will be very significant for the remainder of the season to determine who will be the NFC West champion and who will be the potential wild card. Remember, there are 3 wild cards in each conference, and at the way things stand right now, 3 of the 4 teams from the NFC West would be participating in mid-January playoff football. All right, next up is the injury report. There's tons of players to inform you about on this report, so let's get into it. Let's start with the Rams. The Rams injury report is relatively clean for the most part. Puka Nacua, wide receiver, has been dealing with a chest injury. He was limited in practice Wednesday, was a full participant on Thursday and Friday. He's good to go for today's game. Cornerback Darius Williams has been dealing with a shoulder injury, limited practice, just like Puka on Wednesday, full participant Thursday, Friday. Williams is good to go as well. The only injury of note for the Rams is wide receiver Jordan Whittington. He's been dealing with a back injury. He did not practice Wednesday. He was good to go Thursday, limited practice Friday, questionable for this game. But other than that, the Rams have a clean injury report, which is great because obviously it's been a long season. And by the time you get to week 10, you should have a full list of players in the injury report. The Rams only have 3 players on the injury report. So the Rams are very lucky to have good health at this stage of the season. Sadly for San Francisco, they can't say the same thing. They have at least 15 players, from my count, on the injury report. Let's start with some key names. Bryce Huff, the former Philadelphia Eagle, former New York Jet, defensive lineman, hamstring injury, full participant in Friday's practice with San Francisco. He's good to go for this game. Trent Williams, just getting some rest. The big fella, the left tackle, number 71 for the Niners. He was a full participant Thursday and Friday. He rested on Wednesday. He will be good to go for today's game. Juwan Jennings, wide receiver for the Niners, has been dealing with an ankle and shoulder injury, full participant in all the San Francisco practices. He's good to go. Mac Jones, he's been dealing with a knee injury, the former Patriot, former Jaguar, former Alabama quarterback, full participant all week, and he's in line to start this game because Brock Purdy is questionable. Remember, Brock Purdy has been out since week 4 with that toe injury. Mac Jones has started most of the game this season. If Mac Jones were to start this week, it will be the 8th time this year already that Mac Jones will be the starter. Brock Purdy's only played 2 games, week 1 against the Seahawks and week 4 against the Jaguars. But Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers head coach, said during the course of the week that Purdy is, quote-unquote, getting closer to returning. So Brock Purdy will be back for San Francisco sooner rather than later. Christian McCaffrey, he's good to go. Full practice Thursday, Friday. Also rest just like Trent Williams. As far as players for San Francisco that are questionable, linebacker Dee Winters, he's been dealing with a knee injury, limited practice on Friday. He's questionable for this game. Defensive lineman Alfred Collins, hip injury, did not practice Thursday or Friday. He's questionable for this game. Defensive lineman Calais Davis, they've been dealing with an ankle injury, limited practice Thursday, Friday. His status is questionable for this game. And as I mentioned, Brock Purdy, dealing with a toe injury. He was limited in practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Questionable for this game. Mac Jones is currently scheduled to start this game. We could see Brock Purdy in a mop-up reserve role perhaps, but Mac Jones will get the start from all indications. But obviously, Brock Purdy is a very important part of this football team. 4th-year quarterback out of Iowa State, the Mr. Irrelevant last pick back in the 2022 NFL Draft. Obviously, Brock Purdy, this is his team, but it's good to have Mac Jones as a reliable backup quarterback in case someone goes down. And obviously, Brock Purdy has missed a lot of action, and Mac Jones has done an admirable job filling in for him. Now, as far as players who are out for San Francisco, Ricky Pearsall out with a knee injury, and defensive lineman Mykel Williams out of Georgia, he is out with a knee injury. And Mykel Williams won a national championship with Georgia back in 2022. Mykel was a first-round draft pick by San Francisco in April's NFL drafts. As you can see, I'm not sure you can see it. So I highlighted players who are injured and players who are playing, players who are questionable. All right, let me see if you can see it here. All right, here we go. So yellow, good to go. Blue, questionable. Pink, you're out. It's definitely good to have multiple highlighters around to help you out. Okay, let us get into the game capsule. We have 18 keys this week. Let me make sure there are 18 keys. Yes, there are 18 keys this week. So we have a lot of keys to go over to get y'all prepared for this football game here today. All right, we already talked about the Mac Jones, Brock Purdy situation, so I'll not get into that here. Let's start with key number 1. We'll start with the home team, the San Francisco 49ers. This is the second meeting of the season between the 49ers and the Rams. The last time the two teams played was back on October 2nd on Thursday Night Football. San Francisco defeated the Rams 26-23 in overtime. Mac Jones got to start in that game, and he passed for 342 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne exploded for 142 yards. Bourne and Jones have a good chemistry to them. They played with the Patriots for a bit, and now they're teammates again in San Francisco. 49ers defense with some critical stop to send the game in overtime, a game in which San Francisco ultimately prevailed. Key number 2, 49ers quarterback Mac Jones, week 9 at Giants. 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9.8 yards per attempt, a quarterback rating of 135.2. Mac, very commendable performance on the road against the Giants team that San Francisco should beat. San Francisco, very comfortable throwing the football. I watched this on film this week. Brock Purdy out, That does not change what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. He still wants to throw the football, wants to get this pass game going that can set up McCaffrey in the run game and everything else. Key number 3, San Francisco's offense week 9 at Giants. 34 points, 6 of 11 on third down, 4 of 5 in the red zone. San Francisco offense, high productivity rate, took advantage of their red zone opportunities. Anytime the ball's inside the 20-yard line, you got to cash in. You need 7, not 3. San Francisco cashed in on 80% of their opportunities, which is excellent. So we'll see if San Francisco can once again be good in the red zone against the Los Angeles Rams this week. San Francisco's offense is averaging 21.6 points per game this season so far. It's the 23rd in the NFL. Last week against the Giants, they scored 34 points, which is their highest scoring total of the season so far. Key number 4, let's talk about the road team, the Los Angeles Rams. Week 9 versus Saints. 10 points, 2 of 9 on third down, 1 for 3 in the red zone. The Rams defense was really strong and robust last week. They locked it down when they needed to. They limited New Orleans' red zone success rate. The Rams defense, one of the best in the league so far this year. If you're Sean McVay, the Rams head coach, you got to be pleased with this. Ram defense is only allowing 15.9 points per game, which is second in the National Football League. Their third down defense is second in the NFL as well. Since the previous meeting against the 49ers in Week 5, the Rams have only allowed 20 points, free to Baltimore in Week 6. That was the game in which the Rams won by a final score of 17-3. That 35-7 blowout against Jacksonville in London 3 weeks ago. And then, of course, last week, their 34-10 win against the Saints. They had a bye week in Week 8. So the Los Angeles Rams, their defense is starting to round in the form. And if you're San Francisco, if you can't pass the ball, if you can't move the ball, you're not going to have a lot of success against the Los Angeles Rams. In fact, the Rams have only given up 25 points or more twice this season. Week 3 against Philadelphia, that was a game in which Jordan Davis had that touchdown that made Lincoln Financial Field go nuts. Of course, you remember that. 33-26 in Week 3, and then 26-23 Week 5, San Francisco over Los Angeles. Those are the only 2 times this year that the Rams have allowed more than 25 points in a game. So typically, the Rams do not give up a lot of points. So you're San Francisco, you got to find a way to get some cracks in this Rams defense. You got to find a way to go vertical on this team, and you definitely need to find a way to get the deep pass going, trying to find a way to get past that Rams secondary, which is really good. So San Francisco, a lot of things that they need to look at in film and in meaning to get ready for this game, because the LA Rams defense, they are really, really good. Key number 5, Rams pass defense 2025. 84 quarterback rating, 6th in the NFL, 6.4 yards per attempt, tied for 3rd in the National Football League. The Rams, with one of the best pass defenses in the NFL, have excelled in keeping the quarterback rating under 100. Week 9 versus Saints quarterback Tyler Shook, 176 yards, touchdown. They did get an interception off of him, and Shook's passer rating was 81.2. They allowed 31 yards and a touchdown to tight end Juwan Johnson of the Saints, 57 yards to wide receiver Chris Olave, and 68 yards to wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, who was with the Saints, but was traded to the Seahawks earlier this week, so Shaheed is no longer a member of the New Orleans Saints organization. The Rams front was stacked, just 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits last week. Rams defensive end Braden Fix with the lone sack. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford has been sacked 13 times so far in 2025. Stafford was only taken down twice last week against the Saints. Okay, just making sure I didn't jump ahead of my notes here. 49ers tight end George Kittle picked up 32 yards last week against the Giants. 49ers wide receiver Kendrick Bourne had 34 yards last week against the Giants. Key number 6, let's talk about San Francisco. 49ers wide receiver DeJuan Jennings, who played at Tennessee Week 9 at Giants. 4 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. A respectable performance for the former Tennessee wideout. Key number 7, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey, Week 9 at Giants. McCaffrey showing us his two-way versatility last week. As a receiver, 5 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. As a runner, 28 runs, 106 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, and a touchdown as a runner. Something to keep in mind, though, McCaffrey has been limited to under 4 yards per carry in 7 of the 9 games this season. So, Christian McCaffrey, if he can get that yard per carry average to 6, 7, maybe put up a 200-yard effort, that will really help that stat out. All right, here we go, week 8. Key number 8, Key number 8, Rams rush defense 2025. 3.9 yards per carry, tied for 6th, 99.8 yards per game, 11th. Last week, Rams rush defense came to play against the New Orleans Saints, giving up just 14 carries for 57 yards, averaging 4.1 yards per carry. Key number 9, and this is the halfway point in the game capsule. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, who looks like an MVP candidate through the halfway point of the season, Week 9 versus Saints, 281 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 140.8. An outstanding performance for a veteran quarterback and Super Bowl 56 champion. Stafford is still doing his thing in his 17th NFL season out of Georgia. Stafford set a new Rams record by throwing 9 touchdown passes within a 2-game span. Remember, he threw 5 touchdown passes in the Rams' 35-7 trouncing of the Jaguars in London in Week 7. And last week when the Saints were crushed by the Rams 34-10, Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes in that game. So Matthew Stafford is cooking right now. Okay, if you're Matthew Stafford, you're feeling good. You have been in the league for almost 2 decades, and Matthew Stafford is showing no sign of slowing down whatsoever. Good for him. Key number 10, Rams offense, Week 9 versus Saints, 34 points, 7 of 14, 50% on third down, 4 for 5, 80% in the red zone. So the Rams offense last week, a high-octane offense that is able to produce points, converts third down when they need to, and loves to score 7 and not 3. That's a philosophy you have to have, folks. If you score 7 points in the red zone, that means you are doing your job. If you only get a field goal and settle for 3 points, that's a problem, because that means you get the opposition some ammunition that didn't need to be there. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Anytime that you're in the red zone, you want 7 and not 3. Rams offense 2025, 26.1 points per game, was his 8th in the NFL. And the Rams, they are scorching hot. They've scored 69 combined points over the last 2 games, 35 versus Jacksonville in Week 7, 34 versus the Saints in Week 9. Key number 11, San Francisco defense 2025. 20.9 points per game, was his 10th in the NFL. Red zone defense for San Francisco is 8th in the NFL. Not too shabby. Top 10 in points per game. And red zone defense, which indicates that the defense is well coordinated and understands what they are doing. Last week against the Giants, San Francisco's defense allowed 24 points, and the Giants were 5 for 12 on third down against the San Francisco D. Key number 12, 49ers pass defense 2025. Week 9 against rookie Giants quarterback Jackson Dart. 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 107. They managed to keep the rookie under 200 yards passing, averaging 5.8 yards per attempt. 0 interceptions last week for San Francisco. This has been their Achilles heel. The lack of interception. That is really disconcerting and really alarming. If you're Kyle Shanahan saying, yo, we need to start getting interceptions here, 1 interception is not going to cut it. DeAndre Monroe, the cornerback for the 49ers, he had the lone pick of the season. That was Week 8 against the Houston Texans. I know it's recent, but we only have 1 interception for the first 9 games of the season. That is not good at all. So you're San Francisco. If this team wants to go deep into the playoffs and make a run, you got to get more interceptions than just one for the first 9 games. That's not going to cut it off. San Francisco's pass defense this season is allowing quarterback to go for a rating of 102.5 against them, which is 24th in the NFL. Key number 13, San Francisco's pass rush. Week 9 at the Giants. 2 sacks, 33 pass attempts. Pretty lackluster, pretty uninspiring from the San Francisco pass unit. This year, San Francisco's defense in their pass rush only has 11 sacks, which is tied for the 4th fewest sacks in the league. Okay? So if you're the San Francisco 49ers, you got to find a way to reignite that pass rush, get after the quarterback, right? 11 sacks. That's not going to serve you well either. So these are 2 sacks that are really concerning, and alarm bells should be going off. Because you're San Francisco, you got to find a way to get some more interception, and you got to find a way to get better pass rush than what you're doing now. Key number 14, Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. He was out for a few games, but he's back now, and Puka Nacua made his return the big-time way last week against the Saints in Week 9. 8 targets, 7 receptions for 95 yards. Nacua missed some time. He's been out since Week 6, but Puka came back last week, I should say, and boy, what an impact that he made. Key number 15, Rams wide receiver Davante Adams, Week 9 versus Saints. 7 targets, 5 passes, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. Davante has been on a special scoring streak as of late, amassing 5 touchdowns over his last 2 games, including 3 against the Jaguars in Week 7 and 2 against the Saints in Week 9. Key 16. This was a stat that was really awesome and really positive for Los Angeles. The Rams tight end, they were busy though, but it was a balanced attack. We had 4 different tight ends hauling in at least 1 pass from Matthew Stafford last week. Overall though, when you take the cumulative numbers, you have 13 targets, 10 receptions, 114 yards, and 1 touchdown for the Rams tight ends last week against the Saints. Colby Parkinson, 2 receptions for 10 yards. Tyler Higbee, 3 receptions for 13 yards and a touchdown. Davis Allen, 3 receptions for 37 yards. Terrence Ferguson, 2 receptions for 54 yards. Balanced offensive approach from the Rams tight ends last week. Key number 17, and this is the penultimate key here. Rams running back Kyren Williams, Week 9 versus Saints. 25 attempts, 114 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Additionally, fellow running back Blake Corum, the Michigan product, contributed with 58 yards at an average of 4.5 yards per clip. The Rams' bruising running game is set to make some noise against San Francisco. So if you're the 49ers, you got to find a way to keep Williams and Corum contained, keep them in the box. Do not let them run outside, because if they get any holes in the outside, look out. They can be gone, and they can bust one to the house if they want to. Last but certainly not least in this week's game capsule, key number 18, San Francisco's rush defense, Week 9 at Giants. 21 attempts, 117 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, touchdown allowed. Struggled heavily in the rush defense last week. That's the one thing that the 49ers had a really difficult time doing last week. When I looked at 49ers on the film, their rush defense, they gave up a lot of yards to Jackson Dart and Devin Singletary in particular. You got to pay attention to Corum and Williams, 2 runners that can run the ball down your throat. If you don't find a way to get a finger on them, don't find a way to tackle and corral them to the ground at the first and second level. They conceded 56 yards, touchdown, 7 yards per carry. Giants quarterback Jackson Dart last week, and they allowed 43 yards on 5.4 yards per carry. The Giants running back Devin Singletary. So here we go again. Rams 49ers is always absolute feeder. 2 teams that despise each other. 2 teams that is not afraid to get physical with each other. An NFC West battle that has monumentous implications. This is the game that both of these teams need. They could be in first place by the end of the day. We'll see. This game has massive implications, not only now, but potentially at the end of the season. The 2 teams, maybe 3 teams, Rams, 49ers, see off the tide. You need these divisional games to add up. These 2 clubs first met in 1950. They played twice a year since. two playoff meetings, 1989 NFC Championship, the Rams and 49ers played. San Francisco demolished the Rams by a final score of 30-3. 2021 NFC Championship, their most recent meeting a few years ago. And I covered that game on this YouTube channel for the old pregame series that I used to do. If you want to learn more about the 2021 NFC Championship that the Rams and 49ers played at SoFi Stadium in January of 2022, you can do so right now by clicking the card in the upper right corner. All right, pardon me about that. And that is this week's game capsule for the Week 10 matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. Hope you enjoy it. And that is it for this episode of What You Need to Know. This is our 7th episode. It has been fun doing this every week, and we're going to pick it back up again now that I'm done with baseball. I will be here with you guys every single week for the remainder of the season. Next week, we'll have episode 8. We'll have the Week 11 matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the New York Giants. So make sure that you tune in to next week's show for more information on that. A reminder, in the description of this video, you can find all of the episodes that we have done for this program. This is our 7th episode, so make sure you catch each of the first 6 episodes that we've done in the past. And of course, you're checking out episode 7 of What You Need to Know right now as I am filming it. Some quick reminders before we sign off for today. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of all of our latest content. And make sure that you share the channel with a friend. I love all the support that you have given me since we've started this. And I will keep on coming. If you keep on subscribing, keep on watching, we will keep the content coming at you because it seems like you guys love football. And I love sitting here with this mic, with these notes, talking about football with you guys on a weekly basis. I enjoy it, and we will have many more episodes of What You Need to Know in the future. Thanks so much for being here, and that will be it for this week's show. We have reached the end of the line. So, this is Tamir Moore signing off, saying thanks for watching. Enjoy Rams 49ers and all the Week 10 NFL action. So great to be back with you, and we will see you next Sunday for Week 11. What's up, guys? It's Tamir Moore. I appreciate you for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you next time for another YouTube video. In the meanwhile, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out my social media profiles and my YouTube profile, which I provided in this outro screen. So long, everybody, and have a great day.